بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم أهلا بيكم نبدأ بس معانا النهاردة متأخر شوية
But
بس
that's due to
حسب
time
ظروف الوقت يا
constraints.
ريت بس
Please let us
تظبطونا
know if the
على
sound
الصوت
is
وهل
working and
مشترك
if you've
ولا
joined yet.
لأ. أنا عارف
I know
درجة
people
الحرارة
are a little
عالية
late
شوية
joining until they
عقبال ما
receive
يجيلها
the
إشعارنا
live
بس
stream notification. We'll start
هنبدأ
right away,
على
and
طول
if anyone
واللي
missed
يعني
anything,
فاتوا
they
حاجة
can go
يرجع
back and
يجيب
watch the
بس
stream
كده.
from the beginning. We'll
هنكمل في
continue with our wonderful
الأبحاث
research topic,
بتاعتنا
and our first research
الجميلة.
is called
ومعانا أول بحث بيقول impact
Impact
of diabetes
Potensitized
mellitus
Orthodontic
oral manifestation on quality of life and
Life,
systematic
of
care.
course. Some
هو
viewers told
طبعا
me to
بعض
read
المشاهدين قالت لي اقرا
the
العنوان
title in
بالانجليزي عشان
English
في
because there
اطباء
are
ودكاتره
doctors and
بيحبوا
physicians who
التفاصيل.
like to benefit
وكمان
from it.
هحط لكم
I'll also
اللينك
put
بتاع
to the research
البحث
in the
في
description box so that
صندوق الوصف بحيث ان يقدر الدكتور
doctors
او اي
or
حد
anyone who
عاوز
wants to
يستفيد
benefit
من
from the
البحث
research can do
يقدر
so.
يستفيد
What does the
منه.
research mean? The
معناه
effects of
البحث ايه؟ تأثيرات الأعراض
oral symptoms of
السمعية
diabetes on
للسكري على
quality
جودة
of
الحياة.
life.
ودي
This is
مراجعة
a systematic
نهائية
review published
منشورة في
in a
مجلة
journal of oral
علوم
medicine.
طب
It
الفم.
compiled all the diseases that can affect
جمعت بقى كل الأمراض اللي ممكن تصيب
the
الفم
mouth and
واللثة
gums
عند
of
مرضى
diabetic
السكري. انت عارفين
patients.
مرضى
You
السكري
know,
دايما عندهم
diabetic
حمى
patients
ملتهب
often
في
have sore
اللثة
mouths. They have
والفم.
dry mouths, and you'll find their
حنجرة
saliva
البق
and
تلاقي
mouth
بقه
are
ناشف
dry,
وبقه
and you'll
ناشف.
notice their teeth fall
تبص
out
تلاقي يعني سنانه بتقع بسرعة
faster than other
أكتر من
people.
الناس
Now,
التانيين.
let's get
هنخش في
straight to the
النتائج
results
بقى
of this
على طول
research.
بتاعة البحث ده ونقول إن
The
إحنا
most
أهم حاجة يا
important thing,
جماعة
even before
قبل
these
حتى
results
النتائج
and
وكل
everything else,
حاجة إن
is that we
إحنا
take care
نهتم
of our
بالأسنان
teeth.
بتاعتنا.
You have to brush them before
لازم
you
قبل
go to
ما
sleep.
تنام. هتقول دي
You
حاجة
might say
بسيطة.
this
لا
is
مش حاجة
something
بسيطة.
simple,
أنا
but
شفت
it's not. I've seen many diabetic patients
كتير
who have had
جدا
their teeth removed.
عندهم
They go through periods
مرضى
where
السكر وشايلين سنانهم يعني في خلال فترات يعني
they
بتعدي
have
عليهم
teeth
فترات
extracted. So,
بيخلعوا
of
أسنانهم.
course, teeth
فطبعا
are very
الأسنان دي
important,
حاجة مهمة
and
جدا
losing them is
وخلعها ده يعني مشكلة.
a problem.
تمام.
So,
فبيقول
what
لك
does it
إيه إن
say?
هم
They
بحثوا
searched through
في
thousands
آلاف
of records, thousands of
السجلات
studies,
بحثوا في آلاف الأبحاث
and
وأمراض
countless
كتيرة
dental
جدا
diseases.
للأسنان
They compiled and gathered the
جمعوها
best research, which included
ولموا
28
منها بقى أحسن الأبحاث اللي هي 28 بحث
studies,
و22 دراسة
22
واقعية و5
cross-sectional
دراسات حالة. مش
studies,
عارف إيه
5 case
الكلام ده
studies,
كله.
I don't know what that
وخمس
means,
دراسات
5
تداخلية
interventional
وغيره
studies,
وغيره
and
وغيره.
so on. What did they find?
لقوا إيه بقى؟
The two most
أهم
important diseases
مرضين
all.
يعني كل الأمراض بتاعة
These dental
الأسنان
diseases
بعيدة
are
عن
more prevalent in
مرضى
diabetic
السكر.
patients, but
بس
the two
أهم
most
مرضين
common are
شائعين
severe
جدا
inflammation of
الالتهاب الشديد في
the
اللثة
gums, called
بيسموه
periodontal
بالإنجليزي
necrosis. This
periodontitis.
inflammation
يعني ده
causes the
بيخلي
gums,
السنان
which
اللثة دي اللي ماسكة
hold the
السنان
teeth together,
بتخلي
to erode,
الأسنان تتساقط.
leading to tooth loss.
فالتهاب شديد في اللثة
They
وجفاف
also
في
experience
الفم.
dry mouth, a
الجفاف
constant
دايما
decrease in
عندهم
blood flow
انخفاض
each
في
year.
الرضاف في كل حاجة.
Furthermore,
كمان بقى في عندهم تسوس
they
الأسنان.
have
ده
increased tooth
ده زيادة
decay,
عندهم
bad breath,
رائحة
pain,
الفم
and a
كارهة. وعندهم آلام ووجع ويعني حالة صحتهم
generally poor
عندهم
oral health.
متدهورة
So, my
بزيادة
advice to
قوي
you
عند الجماعة مرضى الأسنان. فنصيحتي لكم يا جماعة
all is to brush your
قبل ما
teeth
تنام
within 2 hours of
المفروض
eating
إن ما
before
يعديش
going to
ساعتين
sleep.
عن الأكل وتكون غسل سنانك
And at
ومضمضة.
least rinse your mouth.
على
Don't go to
الأقل
sleep
ما
without
تنامش
brushing your
من
teeth.
غير غسيل الأسنان الفرشة
And rinsing. Choose a
والمضمضة.
strong,
تنقي نوع
good
مضمضة
quality
يكون
mouthwash.
قوي وكويس.
I
مش
won't
كل أنواع
mention commercial
الأدوية عشان
brands
إيه
because
ما يعني
we're not
نبقاش
advertising for
بنعمل
any
دعاية للحاجة.
particular company. Now, let's
طيب
talk
نيجي
about
بقى
research
ايه
on aging.
لبحث عن
We
الشيخوخة. دايما
always
بنعمل ابحاث
collect
عن السكر،
research on
ابحاث عن الضغط،
diabetes,
وابحاث عن
research
الشيخوخة.
on blood pressure, and
مش
we're
بس
part
كده،
of this
في مجموعة
research group,
الابحاث
so
دي
we
فيجي
receive
بقى
research
ابحاث
on
عن
these topics.
يقول لي ايه
What do they
بقى
say?
insights and interventions in age associated inflammation.
What
تبصرات
interventions can we
والتدخلات
make?
اللي نقدر
What can we do
نعملها
about
اللي نقدر
inflammation
نتصرف في
associated with
ايه
aging?
في الالتهاب المرتبط بالتقدم في
We
السن.
always talk about
دايما
it,
احنا
and
بنتكلم
maybe
على
we've
ايه
popularized
احنا
this
يمكن اللي
inflammation
شهرنا
thing.
حته
Everyone
الالتهاب دي كل الناس كانت
used to
مفكره
think
التهاب يعني
inflammation meant
بيجي
things like my
مثلا
shoulder,
مثلا
for example,
يعلوك بصوت
rheumatism,
عالي
aching knees, or a
يتحط
cold
برد
in a
في
joint or
مفصل من
spine.
المفاصل ولا
No, inflammation
العمود
is about
الفقري. لا الالتهاب ده اللي هو افرازات
secretions that
بتزيد
increase.
افرازات
Inflammatory
التهابيه بتزيد مع
secretions
السن.
increase with age.
تمام. كل ما تكبر
Yes,
في السن
the older
بتزيد
you
معاه
get,
هي
and
دي
these are what lead to all the
امراض
diseases
الشيخوخه.
of old age.
لذلك البحث اول
So,
مبادئ بيقول
the
لك ده
first
الشيخوخه
principle of
عمليه
a comprehensive,
متنوعه
complex,
ومتنوعه.
and diverse
طبعا
process.
محدش يقدر يلغي
Of
الشيخوخه على
course,
الاقل
no one
في
can
المدى
eliminate
القريب
aging,
ما هو
at
عندنا.
least, but it's said that we
بس
can
ايه
combat it a
المفروض ان
little
احنا
so that we can
نقدر
live out.
نحاربها شويه بحيث إن إحنا نعيش
Our
عمرنا
allotted time in
كلنا
better health.
بصحة
Chronic
أفضل.
inflammation has a distinctive name,
تمام. الالتهاب المزمن ده سمة مميزة. تمام.
and it
وبيجي
comes from
من
cells in the
خلايا
body called
الجسم
senescent cells.
اسمها خلايا الشيخوخة، بالإنجليزي اسمها senescent cells. الخلايا
These senescent
الشيخوخية
cells
دي
are quite strange.
إحنا عندنا في
We have
الجسم
in our bodies
خلايا
cells called
اسمها
normal
خلايا
cells,
طبيعية اللي
which
ربنا
God
خلقها.
created for us. We
في
also have
كمان
cancer cells,
خلايا
which we know
سرطان
about.
نعرفها.
God
لا قدر
forbid,
الله
if
لو
someone
حد حصل
develops a
عنده
tumor,
ورم
they
بيبقى
will have tumor
خلايا
cells,
الورم،
cancer
خلايا
cells.
السرطان. طب
So what are these
الخلايا
senescent
الشيخوخة
cells?
دي
It's said that
بيقول لك
some
إن بعض الخلايا
cells,
طول ما إحنا
as long
عايشين
as we live, our normal
الوضعية
cells don't die.
بتاعتها لا بتتحقق، ما بتموتش. يعني إحنا
These
خلايانا
cells
دي
regenerate every now and
كل
then.
ما
They get
فترة
worn out, they
لما
get tired,
بتتعب
they
بتروح واكلة
consume
نفسها
themselves,
وميتة
and they
ومحولة
die. Their
and
amino acids and components are used to
والمكونات
nourish new
بتاعتها
cells.
تتغذى
But,
عليها الخلايا الجديدة. طيب لا قدر الله
God
عند بعض
forbid,
الناس
in some
بعض
people,
الخلايا
some of these
الطبيعية
normal
مش
cells
تموت بقى
don't
تتحول
die.
لسرطان.
So, it turns into
السرطان
cancer. Aging is
حاجة
something
نسبة
else.
قليلة
A
من
small
الخلايا
percentage
الطبيعية
of normal cells
بتقعد
remain as they
كده
are.
لا
They
بتموت
neither die nor
ولا
turn into
بتتحول لخلايا
cancerous cells.
سرطان، بتبقى
They
خلايا
become old
عجوزة،
cells,
خلايا
senescent
شيخوخة.
cells.
تمام.
These old cells,
الخلايا
this
العجوزة
aging
الشيخوخة
process,
دي
aren't just sitting around, they secrete
مش قاعدة بس، ده قاعدة بتفرز المواد الالتهابية.
inflammatory
المواد
substances.
الالتهابية دي
These
هي
inflammatory
اللي بتؤدي
substances
إلى
are what lead to
ضعف
vision
النظر،
problems,
حدوث
diabetes,
السكر،
hair loss,
شعرك يبيض، إنه فقدان الشباب مع
general loss of
العمر
youth over time,
ومجيء
and the onset
الأمراض
of chronic
المزمنة.
diseases.
يقول
Snoring
لك لو
sounds,
عرفنا
he says
نتخلص
that if
منها
we could get
أو
rid of them
نقللها
or
حتى
reduce them
شوية
even a
بنقدر
little,
نحافظ على
we could
صحتنا
maintain
وجسمنا.
human health.
تمام.
Okay, so
طيب
this
يعني
nice
مقدمة
introduction.
للحلوة دي
Now,
احنا
this
هو بقى
research will
البحث اللي
delve into
هيقعد
the
بقى عوامل الالتهاب
inflammatory
الشيخوخة ويجيب
factors
لك
in
أساميهم
aging,
واحد
give you
واحد
their names, and talk about
ويتكلم عن
pathways
السرطان
and many other
وحاجات
things.
كتير. بس احنا بقى
So,
عاوزينه
what do
ايه
we want from this
ازاي احنا
research?
نستفيد
What
بيه
can we,
كناس
as living
عايشين.
beings, gain from it?
عاوزين
They
نستفيد.
say that
وده
as a
برضو
result,
بيحصل
there are
نتيجة
disturbances in
انها
the immune
اضطرابات في
system,
الجهاز المناعي،
immunity decreases,
المناعة بتقل، بيحصل
and changes
تغيرات
occur
في
in gene
التحويلات
expression.
الجينية. كلام
It's
صعب
very
جدا
difficult to
ان
explain
احنا
in
يعني ايه نوضحه في الوقت البسيط
such a
ده،
short
ان احنا
time.
يعني نقول
We
ايه اللي
need to
بيحصل في
explain
الخلايا
what happens
الدموية،
in gene expression,
اختلال في
the
التوازن
microbial
بين
balance,
الميكروبات
the
النافعة
beneficial
اللي عايشة
microbes
جوانا
that
اللي
live
بتولد
inside us
جوه
by the
الأمعاء
trillions,
والجهاز
and the
الهضمي
digestive system are different in a
عند
child, a
الطفل
young adult,
حاجة
and an
وعند الشاب حاجة وعند العجوز
old
حاجة.
person. They
يقول
did a
لك
very
عملوا
interesting
تجربة جميلة
experiment
قوي
on
فيه.
mice. They
جابوا
took an old
فراعنة
mouse
وخدوا
and took the
الميكروبات
beneficial
النافعة اللي عايشة
microbes
عنده
living in its gut and gave them to
وادوها
a young
لفار شاب.
mouse.
فضلوا
They kept
يدوها لفار
giving them
شاب
to the
دي.
young in its food, and the young
الفار
mouse showed
الشاب
signs of
ده
aging.
ظهرت عليه علامات الشيخوخة. يعني
So,
إذا
these
الميكروبات
microbes are
المختلفة
different in
عملت تغيير
adults
على
and
الصور
children.
وعملوا
Then they
العكس.
did the opposite.
جابوا
They
فئران
took an
عجوزة
old, very old, and
عجوزة
sick mouse and took the beneficial
تمام
microbes
وراحوا جايبين الميكروبات النافعة اللي في
from
الأمعاء
its gut.
بتاعهم. يعني
In
خدوا
short, they
برازهم
took their
باختصار
feces so
عشان
as
نبقى
not to
فاهمين
bother you anymore.
السؤال يعني.
They took the
خدوا
feces of
البراز
these young
بتاع
people,
الشباب
fed it to the
فقدان
old
الشباب
women, and
أكلوهم
their health
للفئران
started
العجوزة بدأت صحتهم
to
تتحسن.
improve. So, what's the process? They
فعملية
say the
إيه
pressures
يقول لك ضغوط الحياة
of
الحديثة
modern life
والتكنولوجية
also
اللي
contribute
بتأثر
to
على
accelerating the
المسار
aging
وعمليات
process.
الشيخوخة.
Okay, so what
طيب
do we
نعمل
do
إيه بقى يا
then?
سيدي؟ يقول
They
لك
say,
إيه بقى
first, we take
نمسك أول
medications
حاجة
and nutritional
الأدوية
supplements that can
والمكملات
combat
الغذائية اللي ممكن تقاوم حدوث الشيخوخة.
aging, right?
تمام.
The
أول
first and
حاجة
most
فيها
important
وأهم
one
حاجة
is a
فيها
medication called
علاج اسمه
metformin. I
الميتفورمين.
know
أنا
that.
عارف إن العرب
Arabs and
والمصريين
Egyptians don't
ما
like to hear the word
بيحبوش
treatment. They'll be
ياخدوا
sick
ويسمعوا كلمة علاج. ده بيبقى عيان ويقول لك
and
أنا مش
say,
عاوز
I
علاج
don't
أنا
want treatment,
كويس.
I'm
لغاية
fine.
لما يبقى سليم
So, you think
وعنده
someone who's healthy
الشيخوخة
and
الطبيعية بسبب
experiencing
إن
the
الجلد
natural aging
والعلاج
process of
بتاعها
their
إيه
age is afraid of
بيخاف
medication,
منه.
especially since
تمام.
any
خصوصا
medication
إن أي علاج معروف
is known to
له
have side
أعراض
effects.
جانبية.
We'll avoid
فهنبعد عن
metformin,
الميتفورمين ده
particularly for
بالذات
Arabs,
العرب
as they're afraid
يعني دول بيخافوا منه.
of it.
طيب في
Okay,
المكملات
there are
الغذائية
nutritional
في حاجة
supplements.
اسمها
Yes,
MMN.
there's something
ده
called
بيقول
MNMN,
مرة
which is also available
NMN
outside of, which is
هو
nicotinamide mononucleotide
نيوكليوتايد
riboside. It's something
حاجة
new,
طالعة
and
جديد
foreigners
والجماعة
know it
الأجانب
well.
عارفينها
It's a
كويس
supplement,
وبيعملوا فيها
and there's a
بحوثات
lot of research being
جانبية
done on it to
ومواقع
show that it
خاصة
maintains
حول
health
الشباب
and
كل يوم
preserves
بيطلع عليه
youth.
أبحاث جديدة.
New research comes
طبعا
out
الحاجات
about
دي
it every day.
مش
Get it,
رخيصة
but
يعني
it's not
عندنا في
cheap
مصر.
here in Egypt.
عندنا
We have
فيتامين
vitamin
سي
C, but it's better to get it
خده
naturally.
طبيعي
Get
أحسن.
a few kilos of
يعني كام
oranges
كيلو
and
برتقال واقعد
eat them
كده
all.
تمام،
Have
في
lemons,
الليمون،
though.
تمام،
Squeeze some
تعصر
lemon
ليمون كده
juice
على
into your tea with a little
الشاي
sugar.
وشوية سكر خفيف
Or no sugar at all for diabetics. The best thing is aspirin. You might say, aspirin aging, and I'd say yes, it is. One of the symptoms of aging is arteriosclerosis, which increases the risk of blood clots. This medication helps prevent clots. They also found that aspirin inhibits three factors, I won't mention their names, of the inflammation factors secreted by aging cells. Snoring sounds that we discussed earlier. There are other medications, but what are their side effects? There's something very important, an active ingredient called Fisetin, found in good quantities in green tea and many other vegetables and fruits. This substance is extremely important. It stops many factors of aging and activates other factors that protect the DNA, preventing it from breaking down and keeping it intact. So, people who drink a lot of green tea, for example, will notice their belly fat shrinking, their health improving, their walking ability improving, and it delays these aging factors. Of course, there are vaccines and other things being developed to address these issues. The topic of aging is a very big one, and there's also the issue of the many factors we mentioned, which are meant to activate the optic nerve and restore people's sight. There's a lot to say about all of that. Then there's a very important vitamin, guys, which I talked about in the last live stream. It's vitamin B, no, vitamin B3, which is called nicotinamide. Someone asked me in the comments, saying that nicotinic acid is what causes a rosy complexion and all that. I told him no, you have to look for something called nicotinamide, and I emphasized it strongly. Vitamin B3 in a high concentration, around 250 milligrams to 500 milligrams, is very, very important. We said in this episode research showing it helps with walking and increases blood flow in the veins, but it has many other beneficial effects on everything in the body. That's regarding the research on the factors of aging. I know we all, as Arabs, always say it's God's will and all that, but honestly, guys, I've seen many cases before and after taking metformin, and they had sugar to the point that after using, say, 3 or 4 months of metformin, his appearance after using metformin, which is glucophage, is completely different. You feel like he's younger. Another study tells you what? Cross-linked between adiponectin and polyol. Research on aging also tells you what cross-linked means. Hey, reciprocal relationship or interaction between fat cells and the acceleration of aging. Okay, this is the only channel that can focus the most on this topic of aging. Specifically fat cells, meaning belly fat, meaning sagging skin, and the role of polyphenols. A strange title. What are polyphenols? I talked about polyphenols in the last episode. Everything is colorful. Okay, so in fruits and vegetables, everything is fine except for the green color in vitamin vegetables. Okay, that's chlorophyll. That's vitamin A, but the red and brown colors. You'll find dates are like that. The darker they get, apples are not green, red apples. Grapes are not regular grapes, red grapes, and so on. Plums, berries are not green berries, blackberries, the ones that are very dark, purple. All of these contain substances called polyphenols. You don't care about the name, you care about the effect. So, this research tells you, and this is the conclusion, so we'll get straight to the point. In the last 40 years, the number of people over 60 has increased, meaning people's health has improved, and thankfully, they've been able to overcome some diseases. Consequently, the chances of getting enough vitamin A have improved significantly. What is the result of this improved nutrition and a decrease in the rates of infectious diseases in developing countries? Infectious diseases have decreased. Okay, so as people live longer than 60, they start to experience age-related problems.
الشيخوخة. الناس
In the
كانت زمان
past,
تموت
people
بدري.
died early.
ماشي.
Any
يجيله
microbial
أي
infection
ميكروبات نازلة
could be
معوية لازم
fatal.
يروح فيها.
A young child could get
يجيله إسهال
diarrhea and
يقوم.
die.
ما كانش
There were
فيه
no
لسه بقى مضادات حيوية
antibiotics or
فهو
intestinal
محاولة كده.
antiseptics yet.
لكن
But
دلوقتي
now,
الناس بقت تعيش
people are
فترات
living
طويلة
longer
فبقت
and
توصل
reaching
لمراحل
old age,
الشيخوخة
and
وتظهر علامات
age-related
الشيخوخة
diseases are
وبدأ إن
appearing.
إحنا ندور
We
بقى
started
على
looking for
علاجات
treatments
عشان
so that
الناس
people
نعيش
living over
كويس
60
والناس
can
لازم
live
تعيش
healthily.
بصحة كويسة. فهو
This is
دي
the starting
المدخل
point.
بتاعه.
It tells you that
فبيقول
the
لك إن
accumulation of fat in the body's
تراكم
organs leads
الدهون
to
في أعضاء الجسم بيؤدي إلى التهاب جهازي.
systemic
التهاب يعني
inflammation,
إيه؟ التهاب
inflammation
على
at the
مستوى
level of the
الجسم
entire
كله.
body and metabolic
اضطرابات في
disturbances.
التمثيل الغذائي. تمام.
This study examines the age-related
والدراسة دي
defects
بقى
in the
بتشوف إيه
formation
العيوب
of
المرتبطة بالشيخوخة في تكوين الأنسجة
adipose
الدهنية زي
tissue,
تغيرات
such
في
as
وظيفة
changes in
الأنسجة
tissue function and
وتوزيعها وأهم
distribution.
حاجة بقى
And the
البوليفينولات.
most important thing is
طيب
here in the
البوليفينولات هو
introduction,
هنا في
the name
المقدمة ذكر
quercetin is mentioned,
الكورسيتين
resprol and the things
والريسفيراترول والحاجات اللي
found in
موجودة في
grapes
العنب
and some fruits.
وموجودة في
Let's get
بعض
into what
الفواكه. تعالى بقى نخش على ايه الحاجات دي. هو
these
راسم
things
صورة هنا
are.
عشان ما
He's
اقعدش
drawn a
ادور
picture
بقى
here
على
so I
اسامي.
don't have to search for the
طيب
names.
اول حاجة جايب
Okay,
لك
first,
النبات
plants like
زي
beans,
الفاصوليا.
which contain a polyphenolic
فيها
compound
مادة
called genistein.
بوليفينولية اسمها الجينستين. جايب
Then he's
بعد
shown
كده
red
العنب
grapes,
الأحمر.
peaches, and
جايب الخوخ. جايب اللي
Fumaric
هو
acid, which is in the picture, but I
الفوماريك اسيد ده موجود في الصورة مش قادر
can't
اعرفها
quite
ايه النبات
identify which
بالظبط.
plant it is.
تمام.
He's shown
جايب
onions,
البصل.
red onions,
ماشي. البصل الأحمر غني
are rich in
بالكورسيتين.
chlorophyll.
جايب الكركم.
He's shown turmeric,
ماشي.
which is
غني
rich in many
بالبوليفينولات
polyphenols.
كتيرة
He's
جدا.
shown
جايب الشاي الأخضر.
green tea and lemons. These are the
تمام.
most important
جايب
pictures
الليمون.
he's shown.
دول أهم صور هو حاططها وقال
And
لك
he
هي دي
says these are the
المصادر اللي
sources of
موجودة عندك
polyphenols that are beneficial for
المسؤولة
aging.
للشيخوخة.
People who
الناس اللي
don't
ما
like
بتحبش الفاكهة
fruit don't like red
جايب البصل
onions, so
الأحمر
they
ده.
should reconsider.
يعني دي
What does this mean
تراجع
for
نفسها علشان الموضوع ايه يعني ايه
health?
بالنسبة
Well,
للصحة
onions, of
كويس.
course, and
البصل
garlic
طبعا
and
عارفين
things like
والثوم
that, they're
والحاجات
all
دي ايه كل دي مواد
polyphenols.
بوليفينولية.
He says they also help
بيقول
regulate
لك انها
cells
كمان بتقضي
aging,
على
these
تصنيف
senescent
خلايا
cells.
الشيخوخة خلايا الهرم
This
دي.
reduces it, fights it a
بتقللها
little, something
بتقللها
natural,
شوية.
better than the
طبيعية
medications
احسن من
they've
الادوية اللي
developed.
مطلعينها.
There are
في ادوية مطلعينها
medications they've
وغالية قوي اعراض
developed,
جانبية شديدة
and they're
جدا.
very expensive and have
التفاوض
very
بتاع
severe side
الفيتامين
effects. These cells can
تمام
resist
في
this
الخلايا
thing,
دي.
okay, and
وهكذا
so
بقى
on.
هو ايه
It also enhances the enzymes
بتعزز
that
كمان
clean the
الانزيمات اللي بتنظف اللي بتنظف
DNA,
الدي
which
ان
is the
ايه اللي هو
deoxyribonucleic
الحمض
acid,
النووي
and
يعني.
so on. There's a lot of talk
وهذا
about it,
كلام
so
كتير بحيث ان احنا
we should pay attention to the things I mentioned. Okay, Clears wrote another
طيب
important study that tells you
بحث تاني مهم بقى بيقول لك ايه
about the effects of sugar.
ان restricting sugar consumption in utero and early childhood significantly reduces risk of middle chronic disease study.
So let's look at it in Arabic now because the title is complicated. It says that the study proved that sugar consumption in the mother while she's pregnant, okay, don't eat.
في الأم وهي عندها الجنين ماشي ما تاكلش سكر
Sugar,
تقلل
reduce sugar a little,
شوية.
okay, in the early stages of fetal
المبكرة
development,
قبل النمو
this
الجنين
greatly
ده
reduces
بيقلل بشكل
the
كتير
risk of developing chronic
الإصابة
diseases
بالأمراض
in middle
المزمنة في
age.
منتصف
This
العمر.
study was done at
الدراسة دي معمولة في جامعة
the University of Southern California. Okay, the children who participated, because they don't taste sugar, so the sugar they get is ... we get very little, or even less, during the first 1,000 days.
خلال ال1000 يوم الأولى كمان يعني إيه؟
What does that mean during the first 1,000 days?
يبقى كام؟
That's not just during the fetus, but also after birth.
وهو جنين ده بعد الولادة بقى كمان.
Because how many years? The first 2 years, or 2.5, until weaning. After that period, after pregnancy, their risk of developing diabetes decreased. Okay, and they're older now. Those children who are chubby and you keep giving them chocolates and sweets when they're little, you start giving them baby cereals, which are full of sugars. The risk of developing diabetes decreased after they grew up in their 40s by 35%. So, if you want to protect your child from diabetes and consequently all the world's diseases by 35%, then prevent them from eating carbohydrates when they're little. Okay, and the risk of developing high blood pressure decreased by 20%. Okay, also in adulthood, They use data from the UK
فبياخدوا بيانات من
Biobank,
بنك المعلومات الحيوية في
which
المملكة
is a
المتحدة
database. It's a
ويرفعوا
very large
البيانات. ده مهم
facility.
جدا، بتجيب
They carry the
الطفل
child from
وأمه حامل لغاية ما
birth
يتولد
until it
لغاية ما
grows up
يكبر،
and have complete
عندهم
records of it.
سجلات
So,
كاملة له.
we should be aware of
فقلنا إيه؟
this. Anyone who has
الاقتصاد
children should be aware
بالنا
of this.
ياخد باله من الحكاية دي.
The
أول
first
دراسة
study,
بحث
a very
بروتون
interesting
بيقول لك
research paper,
أول
tells you
دراسة
that the first study, the
أول
first thing the
تمام
first stem cell
أول
therapy.
علاج بالخلايا الجذعية لمرض
Regarding the disease
هو
of blindness, how did they treat it?
التحديد.
They treated the
ازاي ان
cornea,
هو
then the
عالجوا
optic nerve.
القرنية ثم عالجوا بعد كده العصب البصري. فدي
That
كانت
was the
أول
first
حالة
case they treated,
يعالجوا
and
بيها
then they
هم،
moved
وبعد
on to
كده
other
دخلوا بقى
cases
إيه على حالات تانية
to
يعالجوها.
treat. So, what
نيجي بقى
now?
لإيه آه برضو
Also,
بحث عن
research on
البروبيوتيك
probiotics
اللي هي
and their
أخطر
relationship
الخطوط.
to aging.
احنا قلنا
We've
بقى
already
عشان
mentioned
ما
this
نكررش
before,
بقى تاني
so we don't have
المسلسل
to
هنلاقي
repeat
إيه
what exactly is a
ان
probiotic.
البروبيوتيك هي ايه. الجماعة بقى يقولوا لي اللي
Those
حضروا
who attended
المسلسل
the
اللي قبل
previous
كده
broadcast,
ايه هو
please tell me what a
البروبيوتيك.
probiotic is.
ماشي،
It's
اللي هي
the
الخلايا او
beneficial
البكتيريا
cells or
النافعة.
bacteria.
ودي
We said they're
قلنا
found in
موجودة
yogurt and
في
in capsules
الزبادي،
sold online
موجودة كبسولات تتباع في النت وتتباع
and
في
in
الألمانيات.
pharmacies. Okay,
تمام.
Professor Hullid says, peace be upon
أستاذ
you and
خالد
God's
بيقول
mercy.
السلام عليكم
Where
ورحمة الله. إلى أين وصل
has
العلم
science reached regarding
فيما
glaucoma?
يتعلق بمرض
Please inform me
الجلوكوما
of the latest
الخاص بالعين؟
developments
أرجو
on
إفادتي بآخر التطورات حول هذا
this
الموضوع.
topic.
زي ما
As
قلت
I
لحضرتك
mentioned,
كده
there are currently human
الجلوكوما
trials for
دلوقتي في
glaucoma,
تجارب
and some
على البشر، وفي شركات
companies have
موجودة زي
funded research.
شركة
There's also the
ألتمان
company that
سام
owns the
ألتمان
GPT
بتاعت شات
chat.
جي بي تي
I've
حاطة
invested
3
$3
مليار
billion in
دولار
this
في
company
الشركة
so
دي.
they can continue their work,
تمام.
the human trials.
علشان تكمل شغلها بحيث ان التجارب على البشر ماشي
Are
قريب انها
progressing,
تنجح ان
and
شاء الله،
hopefully, they'll be successful,
ويبقى
leading to a
في
cure for
شفاء
optic nerve
للعصب
damage from
البصري من
glaucoma.
الجلوكوما. تمام.
Most
واهم
importantly,
حاجه لو
if your
الجلوكوما
glaucoma
عندك
is
من
due to
السكر
diabetes, control your
ظبط
blood sugar
سكرك
well and
كويس.
use natural remedies.
آه،
Go back to the previous
استخدم
live
الحاجات
stream. I
الطبيعيه.
don't mean
نرجع للبث اللي فات. مش يعني مش عاوز
to make
اطول
this
الاحداث
too
عن البث
long,
اللي فات.
but in the
اتكلمنا عن
last
حاجات
one,
طبيعيه كتيره
we talked
جدا
about many
وكنا
natural
بنستفاد
remedies reduce the
منها.
substance that damages the entire nerve, whether
اللي بتبوظ العصب كله سواء التهاب في
it's
الاعصاب
nerve inflammation in diabetic
سواء
patients, numbness
بالشكشكه
and
سواء
tingling,
وجع الكلى
kidney pain,
مشكله
kidney
عند
strain,
مرضى
diabetic
السكر
patients, or eye
او
strain and
سواء تعب
glucose.
العين والجلوكوما. آه، استاذه
Professor Loretta
لوريتا
says, wow,
بتقول
your
ما شاء
face
الله
looks
وجهك
improved,
متحسن
and you've
وناقص
lost weight too.
وزنك برضو 10
She says,
سنوات
I've done this for
خدونا
10 years,
وعملتوا
and you look
ديتوكس
younger,
وبيض.
I swear.
والله
I'll
انا
tell
هقول
you
لك حاجه
something I've
انا
never
ما
said
قلتهاش
in any
في
live
اي بث
stream.
قبل كده.
Before,
انا
I'm
مريض
diabetic,
سكر
and
ماشي،
I got it early,
وجاني
in my
برد وجالي
40s.
التهابات
And
وكنت
I was very sick.
تعبان جدا.
I'm
انا
currently
طبعا
taking
باخد
metformin.
متفورمين بقالي
Now,
دلوقتي سنين
many
طويله،
years have
قد
passed,
يكون
so
هو
that might be
السبب
the
ده.
reason. I
انا
mean,
عندي
I'm
58
58
سنه
years
دلوقتي.
old now. Also,
كمان في
recently
الفتره
I discovered
الاخيره
that what
انا
came to
اكتشفت لما نزل مصر بقى
Egypt is
الاسيتايل
acetyl-carnitine.
كارنيتين.
Okay, acetyl-carnitine. I started
اسيتايل
taking it for a while
كارنيتين
now, and it
ده بدات بقى لي فتره باخده وهو بيحرق
burns
الدهون.
fat. So, this
فبرضه
fat
الدهون
because metformin reduces
لان
fat.
الميتفورمين بيقلل
Yes,
الدهون
but not to
بس
that
مش
extent.
للدرجه يعني.
I mean, this fat
الدهون
is
دي
the
هي
reason.
السبب في
As
زي
we
ما
were
احنا
talking about
بنتكلم
a
من
while
شويه
ago,
هي
it's
السبب
the
في
reason for the
الايدج.
aging. So, this might be the reason.
فده
Okay, that's
يمكن تكون هي الاسباب. تمام. فده بالنسبه
regarding the topic.
للموضوع.
Peace be
السلام
upon you,
عليكم وعليكم
and
السلام
upon
ورحمه
you
الله.
be
اهلا
peace.
وسهلا.
Mr. Emmer, welcome. Amr says,
عمار
Doctor,
بيقول
please,
دكتور
is
رجاء
there any
قرروا
research
يبحثوا
or
على
treatments for
داتا عن
asthma?
الربو
Asthma
بيعمل
is
ايه؟ في له
autoimmune.
علاج
There's no cure
وفي له
for it.
سنجولير.
There's no
حضرتك
singular.
تاخده ولا
I
لا؟
don't know if you It's an take it or allergy
عنده
medication.
سنجولير
It
بقى
won't
مع
work with it.
مذيب بلغم.
Singular with a
وظهر حاجه
mucolytic
جديده علاج
is something
جديد
new
بس انا
treatment
ما
for
اعرفش
asthma.
فعلا ليه.
I really don't
حاسس
know why
ان
the
شركات
research.
الادويه موقفه
Pharmaceutical
ابحاثهم، صح؟
companies have
طلعوا
stopped
ادويه
research singular
جديده
and not
double
double quotes the
اسمهم
and
خلاص
something else too.
في حاجه
They
تانيه
stopped.
كمان
I don't
بطلوا.
know
ما
why.
اعرفش ليه بطلوا يعملوا
Doing
ابحاث
research on
وتجارب.
asthma. They're
بس
focusing on a
مرض
similar
متشابه
but
كده
much worse
نبذوا
disease
عنه
called
اسمه
cystic
cystic
fibrosis.
fibrosis. ده
It's a
مرض
slightly
مش
rarer and
رمز
scarier
عمومي.
disease, but they're researching it
بس
now. I
بيعملوا
don't know
عليه
why
ابحاث
the
دلوقتي.
topic of
معرفش ليه
asthma,
موضوع الربو مع انه
even though
منتشر
it's very
جدا
widespread,
بس هو
is so
منتشر عند
prevalent
احنا
here.
اكتر. الناس
We're
اللي
the people
ساكنه
who
على
live on
الطرق
highways,
السريعه والحاجات
and car
العربيات
exhaust is
عماله
constantly
يخبط فيها.
suffocating us. Most
ومعظم
people in
الناس اللي في
Egypt who who live in
عايشين في وسط
downtown
القاهرة
Cairo inhale more exhaust
بيشموا
fumes
عدم
than air,
سجائر عدم
and the
دخان
smokers who don't.
أكتر ما بيتنفسوا هواء. والجماعة المدخنين
spare themselves from smoke, all of this will eventually come back to haunt them. Peace be upon you. Regarding the treatment of age-related macular degeneration, for example, what does that mean? You have what's called macular degeneration, which appears after age 50. We talked about it. There's research being done. This video is about it. There are many observations that there is a medication, originally for depression. It has been found that it helps with vision problems caused by eye strain. Refer to this research. You will find a title like treatment for vision problems. Okay, a medication called fluoxetine, which in Egypt is called Prozac or fluoxetine. Doctor, what is your opinion on radiofrequency ablation for the thyroid gland? I haven't heard of radiofrequency. I'm not a thyroid specialist. I know that they treat it either with radioactive iodine, like in a regular surgical procedure where they remove part of it, or they administer this radioactive element. Radiofrequency ablation is generally known to kill cells. It provides very high heat and kills the cells. But what are its results, advantages, separate and disadvantages? We need to research radiofrequency ablation, its success rates, and things like that. What else could you research? Thank you very much, Professor Tarek. Professor Tarek says, praise be to God. You were on our way. May God bless you. We're trying to get the research that's gathering dust on the shelf, the kind no one's looking, and explain it, even briefly, to get the gist of it so people can benefit. Tariq also asks, Doctor, is stem cell therapy for breast cancer even possible? No, there are many other cancer treatments using immune cells and other methods. Stem cells have absolutely nothing to do with this. Says, peace be upon you and God's mercy. Excuse me, does Crohn's disease affect the optic nerve? No, it's not a disease. What I know is that Crohn's disease is an immune system problem where the body attacks the colon, causing ulcers. We mentioned that. The treatments are difficult, new, and expensive because they suppress certain immune cells that attack the colon. We also mentioned research in the last live broadcast. He said that research discovered a substance in ginger that helps alleviate this colon issue. Doctor, what diet do you recommend for me? I have breast cancer. No, that requires a proper discussion. I'm looking for dietary plans for breast cancer. Fasting generally. Fasting has been proven in many studies to help eliminate cancer cells along with medication and treatment. They referred back to the cases we wrote about regarding cancer, parasite medications, and such. Breast cancer has medications, treatments, radiation, chemotherapy, and other drugs depending on the type of cells they measure. A factor in the cells that determines the type of medication. Also, if someone is experiencing hair loss without a known cause, it could be due to a non-hereditary reason, even though the tests are normal. It could be alopecia areata, which we discussed in a new treatment that appeared in the previous episode or the one after. There are many new treatments for alopecia areata that are much better than what's currently available, but of course, they're expensive. They're creams that make all the hair grow back, depending on its location on the body. But the creams are expensive. 60-gram tube costs around $200, $300. They're available in America and many other countries. I've done episodes about them, and I'll go back to the previous ones, too. Mohammed says, may God reward you and increase you in His abundant grace, generosity, and love. May God bless you and grant you knowledge, health, safety, well-being, happiness, protection, and all your children and family. May God bless your home, my dear. Thank you
May
so
it be
much
for
for
us
this
and for
beautiful
you,
prayer.
God willing.
نرجع بقى
Now,
لإيه؟
let's get back to the
للأبحاث،
research.
نشوف
We said about
قلنا
probiotics
بقى
that
على
they
موضوع
help with all
البروبيوتيك دي إنها بتساعد في كلها anti aging
antimicrobials. Another study talks about walking and its benefits, and I won't go into it because it says, well, we don't like walking, we don't
but
have
it
many
says
places
that
to
every
walk.
10 minutes of light exercise is
ده بيفيد الصحة
very
جداً.
beneficial to health. There is also research on curcumin.
في بحث كمان عن الكركمين
And the
والجهاز
nervous
العصبي.
system, turmeric, well,
ماشي؟
curcumin
بس
is the
الكركمين
active
ده اللي هو
ingredient.
المادة الفعالة اللي مستخلصة
Extracted
منه
from it and made into
ومعمول في
capsules.
كبسولات.
So, when they want to
فدايما
do
لما
research
بيحبوا
these
يعملوا
days,
أبحاث
they
دلوقتي
do
بقى
it.
بيعملوها بقى على
On
الكركمين،
curcumin, on the
المادة
active
الفعالة
ingredient
نفسها.
itself. It says that
فبيقول
there are
إن يعني advances of curcumin in nervous system diseases, the effect of regulating oxidative stress and clinical studies. يعني
developments in
التطورات يعني في
curcumin and its
الكركمين في
effect on
أمراض الجهاز
regulating
العصبي
oxidative stress in
تسير
nervous
على
system
تنظيم
diseases.
الإجهاد
And
التأكسدي
clinical studies on
والجلطات
this topic.
السريرية على
It
المخ.
says that researchers' countries have
فبيقول
noticed
لك إن
that
الباحثين دول لاحظوا إن الاضطرابات
neurological
العصبية
disorders
المصاحبة
associated with
لشيخوخة
population
السكان
aging are a growing health
عبء
burden.
صحي على الناس، ماشي؟ وبيتزايد يعني.
Previous research
في
has
أشارت أدلة
indicated a
سابقة
link
في أبحاث
between these
سابقة إلى وجود
disorders
ارتباط بين حدوث الاضطرابات دي
and
وعوامل
predisposing
معدية
factors
مثل
such as
التهاب
age-related
شيخوخة
inflammation and
وحاجات
many
كتير
other
بقى طبعا.
things. Nerve cells,
والخلايا العصبية على وجه
in
الخصوص
particular, are susceptible to
عرضة
oxidative
للإجهاد
stress.
التأكسدي،
They discuss the
ماشي؟
types of
وبيقول بقى إيه أنواع الحاجات اللي
substances
بتدمر
that
أو
damage
تتعب
or weaken nerves in the
الأعصاب
body. The
وتضعف
important
الجسم
point is to
وهكذا.
talk
المهم بقى بيكلمك على
about
الكركمين ده
curcumin,
اللي
which comes
طالع
from
منه
turmeric.
الكركم
It
ده،
has wide-ranging
تمام؟
effects in
له
protecting
تأثيرات واسعة النطاق في حماية الأعصاب
nerves, fighting
ومكافحة
inflammation,
الالتهاب
and is
ومضادة
anti-tumor,
للأورام
anti-aging, and
ومضادة
antioxidant.
للشيخوخة ومضادة للأكسدة، تمام؟
It's known
ويعرف
for its
بالخصائص
powerful
المرضية
antioxidant
المضادة
properties and is
للأكسدة
a promising
ويرشح
candidate
واحد
for
للوقاية من
preventing
أمراض الأكسدة،
neurological diseases.
تمام؟
So, after the introduction to the properties
هيخش بقى على بعد المقدمة على خصائص
of
الكركم
turmeric, it
والكلام
focuses
اللي
on
بيبقى
depression
ماسك بقى إيه الاكتئاب
and its
بيقول
role
لك
in treating
يعني
depression.
علاج
It can
للاكتئاب
treat
يعني
depression,
ويحسن
snoring sounds,
الزهايمر.
or improve Alzheimer's.
على
By
فكرة
the
يعني
way,
بيقول لك
the Indians
الهنود
say,
في
in
الهند
India,
مفيش
not a
فيهم
single person
ولا
has
واحد عنده
Alzheimer's.
زهايمر،
They never
ما
get
عندوش
it.
زهايمر
This is
أبدا.
based on
في بحث
research
فعلا
I
تم
read
من
and was
حضرتك
surprised to
التطبيق.
find that in
في
India,
الهند
with a
مليار ونص
population of
واحد
1.5
not
billion,
a single
person has
عنده
Alzheimer's
زهايمر
or
ولا
this
بيجيله
dementia.
اللي
They
هو
attribute
الخرف
this to turmeric, which
فبياخدوا
is
كده لأن هو
a
الكركم
major
ده عندهم
component of their
في
diet. It's said to
نظامهم
have a
الغذائي
significant
يعني
effect on all
ده
nervous
كبير
system
جدا.
diseases,
ماسك بقى أمراض الجهاز
such
العصبي
as
كلها، الشلل الرعاش والصرع ونزيف تحت العنكبوتية في منطقة في المخ يعني
Parkinson's, epilepsy, subarachnoid hemorrhages, and
والأورام
certain brain
معينة في
tumors.
المخ
The important point is
وهكذا.
that
فالمهم إن هو يعني إيه
they
لقوا إن
found
في
benefits for
فوائد
the nervous
للجهاز
system.
العصبي.
This
فده
research
بحث
highlights the
كان معتمد
benefits of
جدا على
turmeric,
فائدة
but
الكركم بس جايب
the
البحث
study
بيقول
focused on
على
curcumin.
الكركمين يعني آه، في
There's
بقى
also
بحث
research
معمول
on
على
Berberine. Many
البربرين،
videos
تمام؟ البربرين بس في فيديوهات كتيرة
have
واتكلمت عن
discussed
البربرين
Berberine,
فأنا
so
هتكلم
I'll
عنه
briefly mention it.
باختصار.
It states that
بيقول لك إن هو بروميسنج تريتمنت فور
Berberine is a
تايب 2 دايابيتس،
promising
علاج
treatment for
واعي
type 2 diabetes
للسكر من النوع الثاني
and the dementia that results
والديمنشيا اللي
from it,
بتحصل
which
من
includes
السكر
dementia
يعني
and
الديمنشيا يعني الخرف أو
memory
يعني
problems.
تعب
Let's
الذاكرة
not use the
بقى
word
عشان
senility because we're
ننتهي
bothered
من
by it.
كلمة خرف
It
دي.
refers to the mental
تعب
and memory
المخ
problems
الذاكرة اللي
that occur in
بتحصل عند
diabetic
مرضى
patients,
السكر طبعا
especially
مع
with age.
التقدم في السن
So,
مثل
what's the
هي
point of their
أخت
brain being
يعني.
affected? They're telling
بيقول لك إن
you that
البربرين
berberine is
ده
a natural
ده مادة
substance
طبيعية
extracted from
مستخلص
a type
من
of chili pepper.
نوع من أنواع الشطة، فلفل يعني فلفل نوع طويل
It
كده
grows so long,
بينمو بس
but
ما
I don't think
بياخدش
we have
نسبة
this type
عندنا
at all
خالص
in
في
our Arab
بلادنا
countries.
العربية يعني. فهتلاقيه
You'll
في
find
الهند
it in
برضه
India too, where they
بيستخلصوا بقى
extract
منه
berberine from
البربرين
it
ده
and make capsules.
وبيعملوه
It
كبسولات
also comes
بيجي برضه
as a
كمخصص
dietary
سمي غذائي
supplement,
الناس اتكلمت عليه
and
كتير
people have
والناس
talked about it a
بتبيعه
lot and some sell it
اللي هو
because it
بيعمل
works like
عمل
metformin, which is
الميتفورمين
glucophage, but it
والجلوكوفاج
doesn't have the
ولكن
same
ليس له نفس الأعراض
side
الجانبية بتاع
effects as
الجلوكوفاج،
glucophage.
ما
It
بيقللش
doesn't reduce
امتصاص
the
فيتامين ب
absorption of
12،
vitamin
ما
B12,
بيقللش
and it
المشاكل
doesn't
اللي
cause
هي
the digestive
الهضم
problems and gas,
والغازات
especially at the
زي
beginning of
إنزال في
use,
الداخل
like
النخاعي
glucophage.
زي الجلوكوفاج. So they recommend it, meaning
بينصحوا
that
بيه
people who
يعني
want to use
الناس
it.
اللي هي تحب تعمله يعني يبقى خيار لها
It's a
كخيار
good
بديل
alternative to
عن
glucophage and
الجلوكوفاج
metformin.
والميتفورمين يبقى كويس. تمام.
Snoring sounds also,
برضو
back then,
كان
because
ساعتها
this is a bit old news.
خبر قديم شوية
It
منشور
was
بقى في
published
مجلة
in the
نيتشر
journal Nature that
إن
stem cells
الخلايا الجذعية
cured a
عالجت
woman of
امرأة
diabetes, and
من
she was the first
السكر.
one, the first
تمام.
woman,
أول
because
واحدة
before
أول
that they had
امرأة
tried
يعني قبل
it.
كده كانوا جربوا على
On a
الراجل.
man,
دي
this was
كانت
the first
أول
woman.
ست.
What
الكلام
year
ده
was
سنة
this?
كام؟
September
26
26th,
سبتمبر 2024.
2024. She was the first person to
كانت
be treated for
أول
type 2
واحدة في
diabetes
العالم من السكر النوع
with
الثاني
stem cells,
الخلايا
but the
الجذعية.
problem with
بس هو
stem
اللي بيخلي
cells
إيه
is their
الخلايا
survival.
الجذعية بقائها إنها تستمر. ما
They're very
تعتمدش، دي حاجة
expensive,
غالية
and you tell me that after a
جدا.
year or
تقول
so,
لي
they'll
لو
only
سنة
last a
ولا
year or two,
حاجة هتبقى كويس، هتقعد لك سنة ولا اتنين
and then
وبعدين
the diabetes will
ترجع
return.
تاني عندك
This treatment
السكر.
will cost
العلاج ده هيكلف
a
كتير.
lot. So,
تمام.
we want to reach a complete
فعاوزين
cure for diabetes.
نوصل لأن يبقى في شفاء تام من السكر
With
بالخلايا
stem
الجذعية.
cells, of course, they're trying to
بيحاولوا
put
طبعا
something in them
دلوقتي
now.
يحطوا فيها ايه بقى؟ حاجة
Something very strange. Sorry for going off topic, but it's just a chat, as we say.
دردشة زي ما بنقول.
They
دوروا
investigated
ايه اللي
what destroys
بيكسر
these stem
الخلايا
cells.
الجذعية
They
دي؟
found that the
لقوا
immune
ان
system
جهاز المناعي، جهازك المناعي برضو
detects them,
اكتشفها
recognizes
واتعرف
them,
عليها،
and sees them
ويطلع
as
تطلع
foreign.
غريبة
It starts attacking
يبدأ
them and
يهجم
kills
عليها
them.
فيموتها.
So the
فنرجع
diabetes
تاني السكر
returns.
عندنا تاني.
So, they said,
فقالوا طب
what's the
ايه
best thing that
احسن
can trick the
حاجة بتعرف تضحك على الجهاز المناعي،
immune system,
تغش الجهاز
deceive it,
المناعي
and live
وتخليه
and multiply
يتكاثر
without being affected?
ويجرى لهاش حاجة.
Imagine
لقوا خلايا السرطان. تخيل بقى
that
ان
cancer
خلايا
cells,
السرطان
cancer
بتقدر
cells have a
تهاجم.
unique ability to
خلايا
deceive the
السرطان
immune
بتقدر
system,
تخدع الجهاز المناعي
and
ومش
sometimes
تخدع
even
كمان، بل
co-opt it.
ساعات بعض انواع السرطان بتسخر الجهاز
In fact,
المناعي لهذه
some types of
المسألة،
cancer can
بتشغله
even
عندها في
hijack the
الجهاز.
immune system,
يعني
turning it
يفيدها،
into a
يجيب لها
tool to
يوسع
serve
لها
their
يزودها اوردي
own
يزودها
purposes.
شرايين، يعني
This
يفتح لها
means the
حاجات.
immune system works for them,
دوروا
expanding
على
and
الجينات
increasing
دي
their blood supply and
لقوا ان
arteries.
خلايا
Cancer cells to
السرطان
evade the immune
researchers
system and
searched for the
decided to
genes that
insert them
allow وراحوا قالوا هنحطها جوه
into
الخلايا
stem cells so
الجذعية
that these stem cells could
بحيث هي
also
كمان
evade the
تتكافئ
immune
الجهاز
system.
المناعي.
They are
وبيجربوا بعض
currently
المرات
this and hoping to achieve this
ويشوفوا ان
breakthrough.
هم
It's
يوصلوا
great to see if
للحكاية
they
الجميلة دي. يا ريتهم بقى ايه
succeed,
يوصلوا
and
للموضوع ده
hopefully
ويوصلوا
quickly,
بسرعة
because
علشان
everyone is waiting for
نستفيد
this
منهم.
information.
بحث مرجعي بقى
There's also a
مشهور
well-known
منشور
reference
على
study published on green tea,
الجرين تي، الشاي الأخضر، كأنتي ايجينج، كبرضه
specifically
حاجة
on
مضادة
anti-aging properties. It
للشيخوخة.
goes into detail about its
وبيخش بقى بالتفاصيل بتاعته وبيعمل ايه
mechanisms and components,
ايه الميكانيزمات اللي وايه المواد اللي فيه
explaining how it
بالتفصيل
combats
ان هو
aging, such as
يقاوم
memory loss,
الشيخوخة. زي
cognitive
مثلا ايه
decline,
ضعف
and
الذاكرة،
shortened
التدهور المعرفي، قصر العمر.
lifespan. They
طبعا
are
هم
discussing
بيتكلموا عن
shortened
قصر العمر
lifespan in
ده
this
عندهم يعني ايه،
context.
بيقول لك تؤكد
Clinical
الدلائل
trials
السرية
confirm the
فعالية
effectiveness of
مستحضرات الشاي
topical green
الأخضر
tea preparations,
الموضعية
specifically when taken
تسهم في
orally.
تحسين
This means
الموضعية على
improving
البشرة،
skin
في
tone,
تحسين لون
texture,
البشرة وملمسها، ومن
and
ضمنها حد
elasticity,
التجاعيد.
and reducing
يا جماعة
wrinkles.
بقى ستات
For those
اللي
women who
بيحبوا
like to
يستخلصوا في
apply
الشاي الأخضر
green tea
ويحطوه
extracts
على
to their
وشهم،
faces, rest
اتأكدوا إن
assured
في
that it
فوائد مفيدة.
contains beneficial
فبحث بيأكد
substances.
الكلام
This
ده.
research confirms
طيب
this.
الورقة
This
دي بقى
paper
بتقول لك
presents the
أهم
latest
المحتويات
developments
أو
regarding
الإمكانيات
green tea's
الشارقة في مكافحة
potential in
الشيخوخة
combating aging, its
وآليات
mechanisms, and a review of published
ومراجعة
research.
الأبحاث
It improves
المنشورة عليه
cognition,
كلها.
reduces
بيحسن الإدراك، بيخفض مستويات الاكتئاب،
depression levels, and activates
بينشط
pathways in
مسارات
model
في
organisms.
الكائنات الحية النموذجية، الكائنات الحية اللي
Organisms
جربوا
used in
عليها زي
experiments,
بعض
such
أنواع
as certain types of
الديدان
worms
وال-
and
والحشرات اللي
insects.
بيجربوا طبعا
These
بيجربوا عليها زي
experiments are not conducted on
المواد
humans.
البولي
The
فينولية
polyphenolic
اللي
compounds
فيه
in green tea
بتنشط
activate a
حاجة اسمها
process called autophagy.
الالتهام
I'll
الذاتي،
explain
autophagy.
autophagy in
الالتهام الذاتي ده عشان اشرحه لك دقيقتين بالظبط،
just 2
بس عشان
minutes,
المصطلحات
but
دي لما
because
نكررها
we're
بقى احنا
discussing
هنتكلم عن
research
ابحاث
and
وعلم.
science, our
احنا خلايانا
cells are
دي
like a
عاملة
city.
زي مدينة.
Each cell is
الخلايا
one of
الواحدة
trillions of
من
cells.
تريليونات الخلايا اللي
What's
في جسمك
inside
فقط
your
is
like a
كده
complete
مستكفي.
city with
لا،
boundaries,
دول
clear
زي
throat like
عربين
in the
كده
old
كلها
days,
بوابات
with
تدخل
entry and
وتخرج
exit
وناس
gates, and a ton of
خلايا
people
عاملين زي
living
القلب.
there. And like any city,
وزي
there's
أي
garbage.
مدينة فيها زبالة.
This garbage comes from things that used to live inside this city. So, inside this city, these cells, you have proteins, nucleic acids, and things that become mold and turn into garbage. So, this garbage needs to be cleaned up. Cleaning up garbage is important. If this garbage becomes too much for the cell to get rid of, the cell goes into one of three things, a process called apoptosis, and is digested and turned into nutrients for other cells, or it turns into tumor cells, a malfunction that turns it into a tumor, or it turns into old senescent cells, which, as we said, are harmful and produce inflammatory substances. The more active the process of autophagy of waste inside the cell is, the better it recovers. The cell is active again and feels young again. Green tea stimulates the autophagy process, activates the mitochondria, the brain's powerhouses, and activates other things in the brain. It also reduces cognitive decline associated with aging. The active ingredient in it is called alpha-galactocation. Also has anti-aging properties, and they're separating it now. So, if you go to a tea supplement store, you'll find supplements that come in pretty little boxes, like green tea leaves, and they write 4 letters underneath, EGCG, EGCG, EGG. Galcacan glit, which is the active ingredient. They extract it from the tea and sell it for a profit. You can't even handle the details. You should just buy some green tea bags and drink them. To get all the benefits of green tea, I know this young guy, he was really fat, extremely fat. I looked around and saw him disappear after a while. He'd graduated in his 5th year. Then, after a few months, he joined our college and was a completely different person, slim, so smart. So I asked him, "What did you do? Did you see a doctor? Did you have gastric bypass surgery? What did you do?" "So, you mean you lost 30 or 40 kilos, he told me. He didn't do any of that stuff at all. He said he drinks about 30 cups of unsweetened green tea a day, of course. I don't recommend it because the caffeine intake will be high. It will make you sleepy or not. I don't know if that's what he said. God knows. 30. Is he exaggerating the number? Random number? Is he just giving? Or is that really the number? What does that mean? What's the real number? So, what does it mean? Is it advice? Research is depressing, especially for diabetics. He's not giving advice, he's talking about the increasing complications of diabetes. So, what does that mean? It's depressing. He's saying that the spread of complications arising from type 2 diabetes, those of you with type 2 diabetes, pay attention, includes things like liver disease, dementia, cancer, muscle loss, which is weakness, and snoring sounds. So, these are common and increasing complications in diabetes. And this, of course, he's telling you that blood sugar has increased significantly due to increased obesity and lack of exercise. And these complications are starting to rise. Okay, so tell us a solution. We need a solution. This is unacceptable. And he keeps saying, increased fat, fluctuating blood sugar levels, high blood pressure, abnormal blood lipids, meaning harmful fats, all of this. Groaning, snoring sounds. Dementia, of course, everyone. So, no diabetic patient will get all of this. He's summing it up. You have 600 million people with diabetes, and their levels are higher than normal. This dementia affects ordinary people, and everything he's talking about affects other people, but the rate is higher. Okay, he's talking about some treatments. He says that the medications that are beneficial for him, the good ones, I mean, the injections for diabetes that are taken weekly, similar to insulin injections, are like insulin. They're used for weight loss and for treating diabetes. These reduce dementia. It also significantly reduces fatty liver disease. There are also medications in the glycophen family that lower sugar levels in the urine. We mentioned that. If anyone has it in their treatment regimen, they should be happy because it will be very helpful. I actually came across a very large, well-referenced study that showed it helps protect the brain, protects the kidneys, and reduces fat. It's a very good family of medications. Okay, also regarding cancer, I'm also talking about these injections. Now, regarding muscles, for those with diabetes, a normal person generally loses 1% of their muscle mass every year, whether male or female. They might tell you, for example, if you want to know if you're losing muscle mass, they'll say it's your grip strength. We want a solution. Okay, but I can't find a solution other than the A1C test. There's no other solution for this. Okay, and also acetyl-L-Carnitine, when it burns fat, it also helps maintain muscle mass on the muscles. Okay, what does it mean? Because it is the most important thing in the energy houses. What is the muscle that works on it? So that it releases energy, and the heart and other things and other things. I mean, this energy in his hands, so he reduces the rate of atrophy. And there is something else. Go and ask the kids who go to the gym. He tells you what we are. He said to you, bring some of the cans from the gym. They take carnitine, of course, because their response is high. Carnitine is not good for us. They need acetyl-carnitine, which is 20 times more intense than it. And this is the basis that is present in the body. They must take it with exercises so that their muscles remain. Acetyl-carnitine helps maintain the muscles perfectly. So I tell you, go to the gym and do exercise and take a stimulant have muscles. So that you still. I hope that someone he can do this story. I'm looking for this muscle story and he doesn't. Arif can't say what he's saying. He keeps telling you about nutrition, the role of nutrition. This whole muscle atrophy thing. It's very, very difficult for you to find something to eat. Of course, hormones are another option. For example, for men, testosterone. But it has many problems. I advise anyone to take testosterone. It will enlarge the breasts and can cause prostate cancer. It's a big problem, a huge problem. He also tells you about antioxidants, specifically a research paper published in a journal called Biomedicine and Pharmacology. He tells you about the role of antioxidants in diabetes. And its associated complications. So, that's antioxidants. Now, I'll go straight to the natural form of antioxidants. Okay. He'll talk about type 1 and type 2 diabetes, gestational diabetes, and other types of diabetes that are emerging. He'll explain everything. And you know how some research papers like to cover everything from beginning to end, as a review. It gets really long. So, here he talks about the types of antioxidants. There are natural and synthetic antioxidants. We want the natural ones. Be aware that some antioxidants are natural, but they're made synthetic, like an LMT. An LMT was originally a natural substance found in red grapes. And these red things, what are they? Because they're produced commercially and distributed, they're manufactured. So be careful with these things. Some are extracts and some are manufactured. Oh, no, these are the antioxidants, something called hydroxyindosol and hydroxytoluene. No, these things ... I don't recommend them. They can be put on creams. You're afraid will spoil, but as a human, no, they're not recommended.
Sources of antioxidants. Come on, let me tell you what. Spices and herbs. Like rosemary, ginger, which has compounds called gingerol, cloves, and turmeric, which has curcumin. Turmeric, it's really something. I used it for a while, guys, but I get lazy, clears throat, and use it only occasionally. Even olive leaves, I bought them for a while and made them into a decoction and stuff. I recommend them to people, but what do you know? You benefit from using these things consistently. So, what does time mean? Inhale. Oilseeds like soybeans and peanuts. Nuts. These are all good things. The oils extracted from them mean oxidation and ... Okay, is there anything else? Some vegetables, all vegetables are very beneficial. Whole grains, like bread, you can have brown bread. Wholemeal bread with fried foods. But beans are difficult to eat, honestly. Beans are difficult to eat. Beans are also a difficult substance. Vitamin C, of course, and the substances in them, which are vitamin A and vitamin E, but don't eat too much of them. They are very beneficial, an antioxidant. Of course, this research is about tomato juice. Yes, there is a substance in it, of course, a substance called lycopene. I made an episode about tomato juice. I don't know if you're with me or if I skipped it. Snoring sounds in its substances. This red substance is an antioxidant. Very strange research, but I really tried it and found it good. It tells you that tomato juice, or tomatoes, I used to use tomatoes, is very beneficial as an intestinal disinfectant for the salmonella microbe, which is also the one that causes typhoid. In the summer, we always get it. We live in a hot country and stuff. We often get stomach upset, diarrhea, and things like that, intestinal infections. So, you take tomato juice and one antiseptic tablet with it, and you'll find the result is excellent. You don't even finish eating tomatoes for the day or two because you lose your appetite and don't want to eat anything. So, my advice to you is that tomatoes are a good intestinal antiseptic, and I'm speaking from experience. Published in a reputable journal, research was and about, it listed the names of the microbes it's effective against, including typhoid and diarrhea-causing bacteria. It gives good results, but on its own, it's not 100% effective. You still need to take 1 or 2 antiseptic capsules with it. So, my advice is to take tomato juice. The research was done on juice too. Determine the quantities. Professor Tariq says he fasts for at least 3 days. Yes, at least, it's excellent for fasting. Regarding the topic of tumors, this is very important for treating tumors as an adjunct. Dr. Rawaz says, I wish all doctors were like you. How are you? I'm from Algeria. Really wish ... I kept hearing people say I'm from Iraq and Jordan, this eastern side. Snoring sounds. I wish someone clears their throat. It seems someone that from Algeria we joined late, so we found. Welcome to Algeria. They are among the best people.
And our brothers, you can feel that they have a spirit and blood, meaning their blood is a little hot, but welcome to them. And by the way, most of my viewers are from Algeria. They really love me very much. Thank you, Sam. 1,000 thanks to you. I've kept you very long today. We will now take the last research. Okay, I want you all to write in the comments, please. Write your opinions on this type of content and research so that it can be included. If you have a specific question, it might also be included. There are questions I haven't answered yet. I want to answer them in a future research paper. It says that the group that hates statins, and I thank the sister very much because she is one of the most important people who comment on my posts, but her comments are very harsh. No, statins. No, you said they cause diabetes. Okay, snoring sounds. What was said about statins before I came to this research? Sorry, statins are possible, but he has diabetes. Okay, that's a big problem and he has to take statins. Here's the benefit. Statins, okay, this tells you a certain type of statin reduces the likelihood of liver cancer. Okay. What does that mean? It tells you a certain type of statin reduces the likelihood of liver cancer. So, how does liver cancer occur? Liver cancer is the end of the road. You know how it starts. With fatty liver, then fibrosis, then what's called cirrhosis. I don't remember the exact Arabic translation. And then if it's completely stable, it turns into a tumor in the liver, one of the statins they found, and this was published in a very prestigious journal called JAMA. Internal Medicine, the kind of journal where medical professionals publish their work. It's like the journal Ahmed Zewail published in, something like Science. I just want to give you a name because not everyone who worked on it ... Yes, they say that the only two medications that provided this protection for the liver were atorvastatin. The people who take atorvastatin, vastatin, and simvastatin. Okay, I don't remember what the brand name is in the pharmacy, but these are the only ones because they are a type of lipid-lowering statin. So, you should look at the fat-lowering medication. The one you have, does it start with the letter, like torvastatin, or the letter A, or does it start with the letter S? The active ingredient isn't the brand name, it's simvastatin, or the letter S, like simvastatin. Repeating the name just so it sticks in my memory. I'll also remember it when I get it. Because there are other statins, like one called Riciva. Okay, he told you it didn't have that effect for us, so I'll take a medication. There's no diabetic patient who doesn't take cholesterol medication every 2 or 3 days. Take a tablet after dinner to help with cholesterol, unless the doctor has prescribed it based on blood tests showing high cholesterol. In that case, below normal, have to take it to keep. You can't take it every so often, or you'll get problems from it. So, you can take torvastatin and simvastatin, and if any doctor wants to hear from me now. The research is published in the University of Internal Medicine. Okay, and I'll put it like the doctor. I don't remember his name. May God bless him who advised me to put these research links in the sources in the description so we can refer back to them and see. Okay, thank you, and I've taken up a lot of your time regarding healthy food for diabetics. I'm here, but I usually just bring research papers. But if we have time, we could do an episode about it. May God bless you, and thank you very much for listening. I'll see you soon, God willing. Thank you, and peace, mercy, and blessings of God be upon you.